Hello. Let's give us a second. There, nice and stable. So, if you don't know, my name is Roger Osorio. I am 28 years old now, crazy to believe. And I want to use this platform. I want to use this platform so we can have a discussion, so we can get a better grasp of what's happening around us. Spread some good information. A lot of it's going to be heartbreaking. But I've been considering this for a while. I remember a couple months ago, I went on here on Instagram Live and read off Black Americans by Alfonso Pickney. Now, that book was written in about 1969. It was released. And what dawned on me reading that book is there's so much information that still correlates with what's happening today. We have this tenacity to study history, right? But are we learning from it? Are we moving forward? Are we progressing? Or are we just putting bandages on things that are negative in the world? I know it's difficult to dive into a lot of these topics. So my game plan is simply to have these discussions. Each week, I'm planning to come on here at 5 o'clock Central Pacific time. I'm in Arizona now. We don't have daylight savings. But 8 o'clock Eastern time. And the game plan is to provide an outlet of discourse. If you sign on and watch this, then thank you. But also join in. A lot of these topics that I'm planning to discuss every week are not the easiest. The game plan or the decision to have this on Instagram Live is basically because they have like a timeout after like an hour, and no more than an hour, I promise. But discussing the things we see today, discuss police brutality, discuss these racist attacks against Asian Americans, and discuss what we can do as a community to move forward. My game plan is consistency. So every Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, I hop on here and provide an area of discourse, provide information from things that I read. Beyond Black Americans, which I highly recommend, even though the book is old. I'm going to be reading other things. Like right now, I'm reading Midnight Rising. You know this man's face? It's a deep story. And it makes you wonder what he would be seen as today. We as a country, as Americans, have a dark history. It starts off, even other books I'm reading, like 1491. And I'm going to be pulling from these sources to help spread some information of history, of things that have happened. Me personally, I try my best to speak what I believe, but I will be playing devil's advocate every now and then to try and dive down these discussion holes to see where these people are coming from. But more importantly, how can we overcome them? How can we overcome these evils and these hatred that we see? How can we move forward as a society? What society do we want to create? It's not going to be an easy hour every Friday. But I hope from signing on and watching this live or watching it on Facebook or YouTube where I'll share it afterwards, I'm hoping discussions are had. I'm hoping that if you want to discuss with me, feel free to comment. Feel free to sign on or join the live or even comment after. I'm more than happy to have these discussions because I see us only moving forward together. We have a lot of baggage as a country, as a people, as a race of humans, and it's a lot to deal with. And if you don't like it, well, that's your opinion. Share that too. But the game plan is simply to have a discourse and discuss things like Black Indians, right? There's a lot of hidden histories that I'm happy I'm interested in and I read. But it's amazing how many of these histories or stories connect to what we see today. From slavery to what we see today with police brutality, from racism and Jim Crow laws to the voting restrictions that 43 states are introducing, right? To the attack against Asian Americans. And we often say, it's a similar thing that we often say, we're better than this, we're not like this. One of my favorite things to say when I'm at work is we're people. Because every now and again, I work in the National Park Service, every now and again you'll see people like, oh, I can't believe people trashed this or broke this or this. I'm like, yeah, well, people are people. We're people too. We're flawed. We make mistakes. We do things. And the hope is that we learn from them. And that is kind of an underlying goal with this, so that we can learn, so we can all move forward, right? And I'm hoping we do. You'll see my beard change over time and my hair, but more importantly, I'm looking forward to the discussions that we'll have here and the information that we'll go over, and hopefully come to better understandings of all of this. Better understandings of what we want as a society, better understanding of where we are as a society, but also the hope that things will get better. And we'll put in the work, given the tools of the information from great writers and stuff like that. And I picked out these batch of books because these are the things I'm browsing through now. But there's so much information that's out there, so much of it's on the internet, and everyone's digesting and discussing all these things. But here's an opportunity for us to share with each other, I'm not some big Instagram famous person. That's not the game plan anyway. But this is a hope for those here that we can talk and discuss and understand and listen to one another. And that's basically the big announcement. I'm going to be hopping on Instagram Live once a week, every Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, because of time zone stuff. But the game plan is creating a space for us. So many of us have seen friends and even family members, especially in these last 4 years, go down some dark paths or the things that we truly disagree with. And a lot of that comes down to not listening. Do we feel heard? Do you feel listened to? When you talk, when you speak, are people listening? And at the same time, are you listening to respond or listening to the pain, to the anguish, to the fear? A lot of this fear comes from misinformation. A lot of this fear comes from disinformation. our lack of information, all this other stuff. So I hope to provide some of that here and go on this journey together. Because whether I'm in New York or Wyoming or Arizona, I see this stuff repeat itself across this country. I've seen the poverty that's in Texas. I've seen the homeless that are in Oklahoma. I've seen the riches that are in Kentucky. And we all have these fears. We all have this pain. And we're all in this country together. So how can we move forward? And that's the game plan, to talk about that. And I'll do my best not to be biased and all that stuff, but I'm here to learn as well. And if you have things to share, understand this is a platform for you to do so. We have seen the ugly in this country for far too long. And for those of us, like myself, who study history, we see it on another level. Because we see and study what's happened in the past. And it's dark. But it gets better. And it gets better together. So I hope you'll join me or watch these and share these and all this stuff. And I hope to be consistent and be here as a tool and a space for you all. So until next Friday, I'll see you then.